with a powerful, empowering question that we ask the universal presence through universal law, what shall I be? And you'll get an answer straight from the source of all creation. You shall be what you are meant to be. And what you are meant to be is glorious. What you are meant to be is wonderful. What you're meant to be is the expression of the infinite. Now, as you tap into what you're meant to be, you begin to transcend what you should be. Should be's come from outside of yourself. They come from parental fantasies, societal status quo fantasies, religious fantasies. But there is something that does not come from exogenous things, that is, things outside of you. There's something comes from the depth of your soul, what you are meant to be. An avocado seed is not meant to be a rose. A peach seed is not meant to be a plum tree. It has a meant to be built into it. You have a meant to be. The Christ, the hope of glory, according to your unique pattern, is a meant to be within you. And so with Sandy Simmons, as you sing and say, what shall I be? What's trying to emerge? What's trying to come through me? What is my meant to be-ism? Then you'll transcend all the isms into an awareness that the presence of God is for you and there is nothing against you. You'll begin to understand, as the theme of the month indicates, that we are giving possibility a chance for a change. On two levels, we're giving possibility thinking a chance, an availability, an openness, because we have discussed already this month that the mind must hold possibility in order for the eyes to see opportunity. And so we're saying, give possibility a chance for a change on two levels. For a chance for a change, meaning you may have been hijacked by impossibility thinking. You may have been hijacked by fear, worry, and doubt. You may have been hijacked by acclimating yourself to a sense of separation from the presence of God. Give possibility a chance for a change. And then that change will be a radical transformation in your perception first. In your perception first. The thing about many human beings is that they're looking for a change outside of themselves first. To be happy, to be in joy, to be prosperous, to be successful. Incorrect. You're putting the cart before the horse. You want to put the heart before the course. Okay, that just wherever that came from, that sounded pretty good. Anyway, and so you want to change your perception first, you see. And so when you begin to enter into the consciousness of possibility for a chance, for a change, you're opening yourself up for a change of perception that then leads to a radical transformation in your life, the way you approach life. Life is the same yesterday, today, and forever. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Love, peace, joy, wisdom, harmony, intelligence, same yesterday, today, and forever. You're changing your positionality, your perception, so that you become more available to the way life is, constantly seeking to know itself as your very life and being. So then you come into our cosmology. Here at the Agape International Spiritual Center, and every metaphysical spiritual center, every new thought, ageless wisdom center, every path with heart has a cosmology of oneness, a cosmology of unity. There is no biverse, there is a universe, a multidimensional universe that is birthed out of the one mind, the one heart, the one presence everywhere. And the Big Bang, which is not a singular event, it is something that happens everywhere simultaneously. It's interesting that science is catching up with this now, because that new telescope with billions of galaxies everywhere, they had to rethink the Big Bang theory from a singular moment that happened sometime in history to a simultaneous event that's happening everywhere and continues to happen, birthing wholeness and oneness and distinct units of infinite possibility everywhere in solar systems, galaxies, multidimensional universes, living biology. Oh my God, there's so much that mystics have been teaching for thousands of years that science is now catching up with. And so we're saying in substance today that God is everywhere, for real though. That's what people like to say, for real though, put a little emphasis, for real though. God is everywhere, for real though. Now, the issue is, or the practice is, to come to an ever-increasing awareness that God is everywhere, even in your darkest moments. Even in those particular things that seem to go wrong in your life. Even in those particular experiences where it seemed that life was against you or people were against you, or somebody did something to you, someone stole something from you, someone said something about you. Even in that is the power and the presence and the love of God. And if you pray to say in substance, open mine eyes that I may see the presence of God in the midst of everything, then that which has been placed outside of God must now be reknown in God. In other words, when you say in substance, God is everywhere and God was with me except in that moment, except when that particular thing happened, then you are defending yourself against the presence of God and are creating a sense of separation, saying God is everywhere except in that event, except in that circumstance, except when that was happening. And then that unresolved mental contamination allows you to be an individual that is looking for a fight in an empty room. You walk into a room and there's just a fight there. There's anxiousness, there's anxiety there because the room isn't empty. It's full of the thought forms of fear, doubt, worry, and the acclamation of fear, doubt, and worry based on you putting God outside of yourself, based on not seeing the presence of God in the midst of what appears to be a negative experience that you were having. In other words, on two levels. Dr. Howard Thurman and his student, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., talked about a redemptive suffering, meaning that when certain things happen to us as a people, as an individual, there is something about that shifts, that takes us to a deeper level, because here how it works. The universe is progressive. The universe doesn't go backwards. The progressive universe is always unfolding to reflect and to reveal the cosmic order. So when something oppresses you, when something puts you down, when there's an apparent loss or limitation, I say apparent, loss or limitation, in that moment, it becomes, as I've used over the years, a kind of like a slingshot analogy. Slingshot, you take a slingshot and you pull it back like this, and when you let it go, the velocity of whatever it is you're shooting is speeded up. So when something happens that appears to be negative, something is pushing you back, something is stealing something from you, somebody's talking about you, there appears to be a loss, the universe is still moving forward. But if you can say, let me see God in this, then what happens is that seeming loss in your right vision propels you faster than you could ever go by yourself. This is why individuals who have had negative things done to them seem to grow faster than the perpetrator. Oftentimes, because the universal presence, through a kind of a redemptive suffering, so to speak, catapults you into a greater expression of life. That which has been put outside of God must now be reknown in God through your saying in substance, let me see the presence of God in this, because God is everywhere for real, though in the midst of everything that appears to be loss and lack and limitation and not enoughness, it is there, but we have to see it. So what happens is unconsciously, we defend ourselves against unity by unconsciously thinking that God was everywhere except in that moment. But in truth, the presence is there. And then what happens is you move from win-loss to win-learn. You move from win-loss to win-blessing. In other words, there's no win-loss, win and lose. That's kind of a polaristic dichotomy of the universe. The universe is progressive. So you move out of the win-loss consciousness into the win-win, the win-learn, win-blessing. that in the midst of the darkest moment, there is a blessing brewing. But you gotta ask to see it. What shall I become? What's trying to happen here? You see? And then you begin to discern, again, everything that I say is built into a practice of affirmative prayer and meditation and high conversation and visioning and fellowship with high-minded, open-hearted people in the feeling tone of chanting and music that carry a frequency and a vibration that serves as a tuning fork for a higher awareness within your soul. So this is not something to just memorize and say, oh, I've heard the information and I believe it. That's just the beginning. The next stage is some level of practice so that we can this begins to be activated within us, you see. And then this is what happens. We're able to discern between the habituated self. You know, human beings are full of habits. There's a habituated self that is habituated the acclimation to fear. We've learned how to cope with fear. We've learned how to live with it. It's there. And then unconsciously, we make choices from it. We're making decisions and choices from what we've acclimated ourselves to. Fear, doubt, and worry. We've acclimated ourselves to it, and then we choose from that limited perception, and then our experience continues to be limited because of what we've acclimated ourselves to. When in truth, we begin to acclimate ourselves to peace, acclimate ourselves to love, acclimate ourselves to joy, acclimate ourselves to bliss and ecstasy. Now, that may be a stretch for some. That may be a little stretch. So some of you just want to stop at pleasure. You know, give me some pleasure. Forget all that bliss and ecstasy. That's a little bit too much. No, pleasure is just on the way to ecstasy and bliss. Anyway, through prayer and meditation, insight and revelation, we start to acclimate ourselves to the higher frequencies, and our choices change. We begin to choose consciously and unconsciously from peace and love and harmony. We begin to choose from that dynamic. Whole new worlds open up for us because our choices are different, you see. And so you have an habituated self. You've habituated yourself to worry and doubt and fear. But now you're going to acclimate yourself to a higher frequency and become the vibrational tuning fork of love and peace and harmony and wholeness. And in a moment you think not. In a moment that thinkingness stops, something takes you over. That presence of love and peace and harmony and joy, that presence of abundance and opulence and affluence, that presence of beauty and intelligence has now found a place to express itself. Similarly to electricity is everywhere. It's looking for a light bulb. It's looking for a microphone. It's looking for a camera. It's looking for something to express itself through. We are the vehicles through which the presence of God gets to express through. The only difference is it is God expressing through us and as us. That which is coming through us, in us, is us. It is our life and being. So we're not merely a light bulb, we are the electricity as well. And when you become bold enough to say, I am, when you become bold enough to say, I am that, you become bold enough to say, I am that which thou art, and thou art that which I am, without blaspheming the is. The only way you can blaspheme the is to limit it. Is to say, oh, no, God's not here. That bad thing happened, and God must have been everywhere else, but except in that spot. Don't defend yourself against unity. God is there, everywhere. Just ask to see it. And you'll see a blessing brewing. You'll see a life lesson growing in you. And then you will bless the seeming loss. You will bless that which appeared to have happened to you, because it birth something in you, an activation of a principle, a presence, and a gift that would otherwise not necessarily have come to fruition except for the challenge of the headwinds appearing to go against you. It became that which you flew upon. Ooh, that wind was strong, but I floated on it. I fly, I soar, I levitate, you see. This is the redemptive seeming suffering that takes place. And so you have to look at the habituated self, and you have to see the habituated self complaints. You have to see the habituated self acclimating to fear, the choices made from it. You have to see the habituated self that's always arguing for its limitations. Oh, that's impossible. That can't happen. It's never happened in my family. I've never seen that before. Oh, my God. You have to look at the habituated self and see all of its complaining, but then you just look at it like a small child. You just look at that habituated self, and you just realize it's just immature. That complaint is actually a gift in embryo. That if you can just turn the complaint around to an affirmation, turn the complaint around into a declaration and a decree, an announcement. You take your complaint and you just turn it around. Oh, my God, why? Why are my needs always being met? Why do I feel so loved and supported all the time? Why does my body heal itself with such ease? Why am I always happy for no reason? Why? You just turn it around until the habituated self, which holds the echo of a memory, of a misinterpretation of a past experience, that sting of that past experience will become transmuted. You won't lose the memory, but you'll lose the sting, and the sting will become a blessing and a lesson if you will but integrate yourself in some spiritual practice that will change your life. You don't come into a community just to feel happy, so temporarily, to get a little high. No. That's for other people that just, back in the day, they had opium dens and stuff like that, hide themselves from life, get high. No, you've come to get free from the habituated self and to come into that which has not been touched by time or experience. Oh, it seems impossible. It seems out of reach. Try possibility for a change. Try possibility thinking for a change. Just a couple of days of what's possible. Just give yourself a chance in possibility thinking, just for a change, just for a moment. And then that echo of the memory and the sting of your interpretation of what's happened in the past, the sting will dissolve. The memory is going to be there, but the sting will go. And you'll see everything differently. You'll look back and you'll see your soul was carrying you through an interesting path, circuitous. But it's your path. Then you'll see that you have your own how-to book. Everybody wants to know how to do this, how to do that, how to do that. They read the how-to books. But everyone's how-to book is how it happened for them, except for the principles are the same for everybody, but everybody has their own path. You see, you'll use the principles, and then you'll write, how I got over. You'll sing, how I got over, how I transcended, how my heart was mended. I'm trying to tell you something here. There's an echo of memory and the acclamation to the memory and the choice and the decisions from the memory of fear. But you come to a community to acclimate yourself to a higher frequency so that your choices are made in love even when it's hard. Debbie Gale is sitting in here today, and we were having a beautiful conversation yesterday at her son Zaid Gale's, my godson, event, 25 years of Peace for Kids. Something that emerged out of Sacred Service Saturday season for nonviolence here at Agape, and Zaid and Marnie just created this whole organization that's embracing individuals who are in the foster care system and creating community and love and meeting them where they are. And as Dr. Thurman would say, but treating them though they were where they possibly can be in possibility. And anyway, I was standing there talking to her grandchildren and asking them, are they still participating in martial arts, because I knew that Debbie had put them into the martial arts program, and they said, yeah. And I just happened to say, yeah, but the beautiful thing about martial arts, it also helps you diffuse situations, not just, defend yourself physically. And then Debbie and Zaid's wife told me this beautiful story. And Irishna had been texting me, that's Nirvana's daughter. She'd been trying to tell me the story, but we kept missing each other. So I didn't know what the story was. But anyway, in short, both of Debbie's and Nirvana's grandkids are playing basketball. And I should throw Zaid in here too. It's his kids. Anyway, they go on to tell me that it was a very intense situation. Aggressive was the word that they used. That the other team was very aggressive, and the parents in the stands were very aggressive. And you know how some parents just kind of lose the plot? It's not just a game anymore. Now it's life or death. You know what I mean? And that happens to adults, too, in adult games as well, especially soccer around the world. Anyway, that's a whole other situation. Anyway, one of the guys was very aggressive with the older brother. It looked like it was about to come to fighting and fisticuffs. The older brother's very calm, just looking at the guy, but the guy's bumping his chest and act like he's going to hit him and stuff like that. The younger, and this, you got to understand, the crowd is like really, based on their description, very frothing at the mouth, so to speak. The younger brother runs up and hugs the guy that was about to go into the fight. And the guy slumps in his arms and starts crying. Changed the whole atmosphere of the gymnasium. Debbie says it went from two teams going against each other to just two teams playing basketball. Parents came up to her and them and was just so moved by the experience. But love, one, was the highest frequency. Changed the whole dynamic. That young man, was it Khalil, Debbie? Amiri was the young one, right? Amiri was the one that was about to be attacked. Khalil was about to be attacked. I want to get this right. And Amiri came and jumped in. So Amiri became a vibrational tuning fork and responded from that center within him, changed the atmosphere of the gymnasium. You see, these are young kids. Young kids. Love wins. Highest frequency wins. And so what we're seeking to do is acclimate to the higher frequency. The same way that we've unconsciously acclimated to fear, doubt, and worry and made choices and decisions and have conversations from the fear, doubt, and the worry and the anxiousness and the anxiety and the complaining, we want to acclimate ourselves to peace and love and harmony and wholeness. And this is not airy-fairy. That was a real life experience that happened. I remember, I'm going to quickly wrap up here, but that story reminded me of a story that Ram Dass had shared one time. And this other martial artist was, who's very world class. But his ego had a secret desire to kick somebody's butt. Never, the whole thing was to diffuse, not get into fights, things of that particular nature. But in the back of his mind, he always wanted a legitimate reason to kick somebody's butt, to show his moves. And so he's on a train in New York City, and this big belligerent guy gets on the train and bumps into a pregnant woman and almost knocks her down, and he's cussing people out, and he's really acting crazy and trying to move people out of their seats, and he thinks to himself, oh, here's my chance. I finally get to use my karate, my gung fu. And so the guy's all acting all nasty to people, and so he blows a kiss at him. And the guy sees this guy blowing a kiss. Now he's really mad. And he starts walking over to the martial artist, and the martial artist is like, yeah, I'm going to take this guy down and be a hero. And right when it's about to go down, there's this shrill voice that says, hey! And there's this small Japanese guy says, hey! And everybody turns around and looks at the guy, and he looks at the guy that's belligerent. He says, hey, you smell like sake. You like sake? He said, yeah, I like sake too. Come here and sit down for a moment. And he sits the guy down and says, yeah, what's going on with you? He says, oh, my wife died of cancer. I got laid off from my job because I was so depressed. I just don't know what to do with my life anymore. And the guy puts his arm around the guy and says, I understand. My wife died too. Come by the house and have dinner with me. The martial artist goes on to say that was the greatest demonstration of kung fu he had ever seen. Just changed the consciousness. So whether we're dealing with Debbie and Nirvana's grandchildren, this martial artist, love wins. But we have to acclimate ourselves to that frequency. Give possibility a chance for change. We have to acclimate to that frequency. The habituated self has habituated itself around fear and unconscious choices, around fear and an unconscious defense against God is everywhere. Don't say God is everywhere except when that bad thing happened to me. God is in the midst of that because God is everywhere. But you have to ask to see it. Then you get your blessing, your learning, and you change. And now that becomes a stepping stone, not a tombstone, to your greatest expression of life. We're not saying this is easy. We're saying it's necessary for transformation and for you to be the real you. Oh my God, I love life so much. I love God so much. I love you so much. Back in the day, people would say, Jesus loves you. Yes, God, Jesus does, but I love you. I don't have to hide behind Jesus. See how my voice went up? That means I'm really telling the truth. I don't have to hide behind Jesus. Jesus loves you. Yes, he does. But we want to be able to say, I may not understand you, but I love you. I may not understand the pain of that individual on that train. I may not understand the sense of anxiety of that boy that wanted to hit Debbie's grandson. I may not understand the acclamation of fear and worry that people are living through, whether it's governments stockpiling nuclear weapons and selling weapons on the so-called black market. Why it's got to be black market? Anyway, that's a whole nother choice thing, you know. It's on the white market too. Anyway. Anyway, I may not understand all of that, but God is not mocked. God is here. Say it, God is here. Right here. Right now. As my life. As my being. As my seeing. God is my life. Remember, that which has been put outside of God, meaning God was everywhere except when that thing happened. That which is put outside of God must be reknown in God. And then transformation takes place. And it becomes a stepping stone, not a tombstone, to your greater expression of living. Oh, my God. Woo, life is good. That's why I can say life is good, because I'm not talking about people's experience of life. I'm just talking about life. Turn within with me for a moment, please. Extract your attention from what appears to be the external world and pull your attention inward. And as we pull our attention away from the external world, which is largely projection of that which is within us, as a vibrational Rorschach painting, we see the world the way we are. We turn our attention inward now, and we allow for our heartscape and our mindscape to be so expanded that we're able to say that we're living, moving, and having our beingness in the presence of God. Not a guy in the sky, but a presence of love and beauty and intelligence, life itself, seeking to know itself as each and every one of us. And something within us screams out, oh my God, I'm alive, I'm grateful. I'm awake, I'm grateful. I'm on a conscious path, I'm grateful. I'm so very thankful. I'm so grateful. Our perceptions change. We now see possibilities, potentiality, infinite good. This is before anything even changes physically. We just begin to see differently. Now we hear, as thou seest, so thou beest. We become integrated and integrous beings with the presence. Unity, oneness. Where I am, God is. Where I am, God is. God is where I am where God is. God is where I am. I am that. And from this pure sense of oneness, remember, we're not dealing with circumstances yet. Just our consciousness of oneness. God is everywhere for real, though. Now we can speak the word with authority. Not wishing and hoping. Not the habitual self choosing from fear and separation. We can now speak the word with the vibrational authority of I amness. The word is now being spoken. Let freedom reign supreme through all of these beings that are feeling the import and the impact of this community everywhere. That divine wholeness reigns supreme of all of our bodies, our mental body, our emotional body, our subtle bodies, our physical body, the body of our affairs, reflecting and revealing the fundamental order of the multidimensional universe shot from the source of all creation. Now, this is the order that we all depend on. We're not making order, we are leaning on it. It's this awareness that as I speak this very word, I'm calling forth divine wholeness. It's already here within us. Divine well-being, it's already here within us. Harmonizing prosperity, it's already here within us. Affluence and abundance and opulence and beauty, it's already here within us. Safety and well-being, those are states of consciousness already within us right now. I call it forth as the activity of our awareness, and this vibrational word is now serving as a law of elimination, of transmutation to anything that would hinder, delay, obstruct, or deny the fullness of life from moving through us, because all that there is God. So from this moment on, and this is always the case, but now we're accepting that from this moment on, every single thing is working together for our individual, undivided, and for our collective wholeness. Everything is working for this. Life doesn't go against itself. So don't let your lying eyes fool you. See the face of divinity everywhere. Call it forward. And then able to say, I was blind, but now I see. Woo! I'm feeling it in my bones. I'm giving thanks that this is so. The feeling provides the healing. And it's happening right now. When? Whoa, help them feel it. Help them feel it.
I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses. Oh, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the love of God discloses. Oh, He walks with me. God talks with me, yeah. Oh, and He tells me that I am its own. Oh, and the joy we share as we're waiting there, none other has ever known. She speaks, and the sound of her voice is so sweet. The birds hush their sing, and the melody that He gave to me within my heart, oh, is ringing through. And God walks with me, and God talks with me, tells me I am His own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. None other has ever known.
Feel that in your bones, deep down in your soul. The joy that we have as we tarry in the consciousness of the upper room, the secret place of the Most High, the joy the world didn't give us, and therefore the world can't take it away.